Well, seems like something's come to my attention. No, I don't usually cover EZA details, but something about this one caught my eye. A very intriguing 2 units, the 8th anniversary units, have caught my eye. And now, before I hop in, I do have to preface that I have read their details. And I can just say, what is power creep gonna look like if they're releasing units like this? Because I don't see how this unit in particular is gonna die. Like, the other unit is also impossibly hard to kill from what... Disclaimer, readings just pure, it's... you can't really gauge the full extent of what a character is going to be, but you can gauge around the level that they might be able to peak at. Now, I want you to keep that in mind, right? Just because you have the stats in front of you and the details does not necessarily mean that what it reflects there will be what it reflects in game, because people are saying that with the ROF blues, having a short kit, they're completely viable. Like, you can use them perfectly fine, right? They are not the worst easier in any sense, but people saw their details and they were like, they suck, and that's not entirely true. Now, for this unit, the Fizz Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Angel Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, not Super Angel, just Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, I can say one thing. From what I have read here, they get 4 supers upon their first turn in the field. Could be 5 if you have additional supers locked into their kit, right? They have 60% damage reduction once in turn in slot 2 or 3. Basically invincible slot 2 or 3 because they have guard, and they have 5 supers, and I'll explain why that is shockingly high and why they might be nigh unkillable after they super, right? Now, this right here, the slot 1 high chance of evading super attack just makes them like 50 times better. You give them 8 dodge in their kit, right? Or some 10 dodge or 11 dodge. Some medium amount of dodge. You wanna technically pump additional, but I don't really mind what people do with their kits. Like, you play the game how you want, right? But don't give them crit, because if you scroll down here, for every super attack performed, once they perform 5, they're done. So basically on the first turn you could hit 100% crit, and you don't need crit in their kit, right? Now you might be saying, well, what makes them nigh invincible in slot 2 and 3? Well, firstly, 60% damage reduction for the first turn, right? Let's think of examples like SSJ4 Gogeta. He's pretty good, except he can't tank supers. He can tank most of the normals in the game, except for the odd Bio Broly, Gamma 1 and 2. He tanks pretty well in Grand Tours, but if we scroll over to their super attack effects, their 12 key stacks 100% defense, and their 24 key or 18 key stacks another 100%. So think about that for a second. If you can super up to 5 times in a turn, no, my math might be a bit wrong here, but 5 times, 500% defense rate in a single turn? Now keep in mind this is best case situation, but on turn 1 you will always have 4 guaranteed supers if you're at 24 key, because they get 1 here. When attacking with 18 key or more, they get 1. 24 key or more, they get 1. They get 1 more off the 1 time. That's what, hence why I said first turn. And they get a 4th one, which is their first attack. So 1, and then 3, and then if you're lucky, 50-50 additional super on the hidden potential system. Now, if we move on to their standby, this is one of the more major improvements that I've seen, and one of the most scary improvements that I've seen. Firstly, defense 500. This unit was already a juggernaut, right? As you know, they guard and they have like baseline invincible damage reduction. He guards. Rainbow Keysphere changing is very nice for units like Daimagoku. And if you remember correctly, or if I remember correctly, this unit builds up the Spirit Bomb with amount of orbs. If you can see there, starting from the 5th turn they changed the whole field into Fizz and Rainbow Orbs. Now move aside, they can get up to 100% damage reduction with every key sphere obtained, so you know, there will be, I would say with 10 stacks, you'd probably be sitting at a good enough range with, you know, 6 orbs obtained, 60% damage reduction, guard with 500 more defense, but then they added this. 7 or more key spheres obtained, attack 77, and performs a critical hit. And that's for their entire duration, so your Spirit Bomb is guaranteed to crit. That's why I said you don't need crit. Finish effect is also AA now, so this unit might be number 1 or number 2. Like, I think they might be better than Goba right now, and that's just because of their defensive capabilities. I don't see a way that this unit is going to be killed in any of the current content. Like, is it just me? Like, unless you know, have them in slot 7, right, and then you fully built up by a Broly and you slot them into slot 7 on their first turn, you know, they got 60% damage, 50% damage reduction, guard, no stacks, but they do have a high chance of dodging the super. But normals, maybe they could survive. Yeah, that's why I said it's very hard to gauge where a unit truly is until you see their performance in game, which they release in 3 hours and 30 minutes. Yes. Okay, and I think the standby condition is the same. I don't know what that's called to. Is it the same? Can be activated when HP is 50% less or less, starting from the I think it's the same, so you don't have to worry about that. Now we move on to these guys. Basically the same kit as the Fizz SSJ3 and 2, but instead these guys get damage reduction. As you know, these guys stack damage reduction in their super attacks. To be honest, there's not much to say about them. Like, instead of the dodge, they have 30% damage reduction here, so you could technically slot them into slot. How would that work? So 1 turn, so I guess first turn you have to slot them into slot 1. Hope the boss doesn't do anything crazy. They have 30% damage reduction, followed by 50% if they super attack 5 times, which they will, because they have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if you give them an additional super, that's 5. Yep. So you can get them fully built up with damage reduction on the first turn. Then if you slot them into slot 2 or 3 the turn after, they will have 50 plus 40 plus 30 is 120 when receiving a super attack. But you know, it's very situational, that one. I don't think the condition is as good as SSJ2 and SSJ3 Fizz boys, but I could see how this could be good for them, because they will be sitting at a baseline 80% once that one-time buff wears off, which means that they can survive basically almost any super in the game, right? And you know, they really stepped it up with the super attack effects. 50% stack on 12 key, and then wait, did they not show the... oh, here we go. And then 70% stack on attack. Like, these guys were already hitting crazy numbers before, and now that's not all. 300% attack, 11 key, and attack 110. 11 key and 110% attack? They seem pretty good. They also increase the finished effect. You know, if you guys see those and you're like, oh, those are a bit low, keep in mind, they're gonna be the most dominant attacker in the game. Like, sure. Right now, I can say 2 things. These guys are going to be the most dominant offensive unit in current history, and the Boudoir is going to be the most dominant defensive unit in the history of, like, currently. Right? We have never seen 2 units, you know, 2 units perform such wizardry and debauchery. Like, the only thing I'm a bit confused about is they gave him defense on a unit that wants to revive. This one, this effect though, 40% on top of the 110. Now, if these guys super fast, right, and then they die, they're wiping every boss in the game. Which is why I'm scared for power creep. Because how are they gonna age out these 2 characters? Legitimately, they would ruin the game trying to age out these two characters unless they make the bosses hit like 20 million supers on first rotation, which is already bad enough because in Bio Broly, half the units in the game can't even survive as normal. And you need dodge units. Right, so the only few I could see surviving is like Goma, maybe? STL Blue Boys. Daima. Gohan on turn 1. UI Goku if it's not dodge cancelling. And I feel like genuinely half the game is gonna get completely obliterated if they try to release a fight to cater for these two units. Like, people complained about power creep before, but how are they ever gonna age out these two units unless they like give a boss 100% defense reduction or 50% attack reduction? Or like something like that. Don't look forward to them. They're coming out tonight. We thought Vegeta was broken enough, the int one, when he swaps into the Goku side and nukes the boss, but these guys are genuinely gonna one-shot like every boss in the game. Like, I fear for Festival of Battles. Alright. That's all I gotta say. Bye-bye. Remember to stay hydrated.